All right, last week we started with 7-1 and we went through some vocab for this. Ratio, knowing what a ratio is, we can call it 2 to 9 or 2:9, or 2/9 is a way that we can signify ratio. Proportions, you did when you were in algebra. Proportions, 3/21 is the same thing as saying 2/14. It's the same as saying what? 1/7, right? We can divide 2 into both of those, and we can say 1/7. So we've got another proportion here that we could add on to this, 1/7. The extremes, when we're looking at proportions, the extremes is top left and lower right. Extremes, top left, lower right, and your means will be just the opposite. It'll be lower left and top right. So when you look at a proportion, it's extreme over mean for the first one. Okay, if I'm going to have 3/5, bad 5, this is my extreme, this is my mean. All right? And then I say this is equal to 6/10. Okay, on the left it's extreme over mean. On the right it's going to be mean over extreme. That's something that you have to memorize. Extended ratio, cross products, we'll look into that. A ratio would be 45, 45, 90. You've heard me talk about the 45, 45, 90 triangles. 30, 60, 90 would be another extended ratio. Cross products property, we're just looking at cross multiply and divide. Things that you've done before. Anybody have questions on anything I have here? All right. Cross product property, cross multiply and divide. Anybody have never done cross multiply and divide? Does anybody have questions on cross multiply and divide? What you have to do. If I am going to figure out 3/5 equal to x over 10, cross multiply would be I'm going to multiply my denominator on one side to the numerator on the other. And then back the same way, denominator to numerator. 3 times 10 equals 5 times x. 30 equals 5x. Divide by 5 on both sides. X equals 6. Now that's the way that's cross multiply and divide. If you want to do it in a very quick way, 3/5 equals x over 10. What do I have to multiply 5 by to get 10? 2. Equals 10, right? So let's multiply our 3 by 2. Okay? It's another way to look at it. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions how I did that? You can do it either way. You're going to run into some that you can't do it this way. All right? You have to do the cross multiply and divide then. But if you were going to be on the ACT test and you got something like this, which way would be quicker? This one right here. All right? If you're on the ACT and time is an issue, that, if you can see it, that's much quicker. Holy cow. 13 problems just on that page. 40, no, we got the second page. That's just cross multiply and divide. Let's take a look at the second page. It's showing cross multiply and divide. This one is a little bit different in what we have to figure out. Our proportion, use the proportion x over 10 equals 2 over z. Complete the statement. It says justify your answer. Well, if 2 over z is one of them, what would x over 2 be? What if I switch these two around? And I made this x over 2 equals 10 over z. What do you think this would be? 10 over z. Can you do the next two? I want you to be able to recognize what happens if I add x to 10 over 10, where I go x plus 10 over 10. What's it going to be on this side? All right. This one right here, I want to kind of go over this right here, because this is I've seen problems with knowing your order of operations. Okay, and order of operations, guys, has to be one of the primary things that you have to get down and learn when you're doing your math. In this case here, we've got a plus b over b equals c plus d over d. Can I divide my b's in this case? No, I can't, because I'm adding right here. I'm adding in there. I can't break those out. It would be something. It would be like saying this: 3 plus 4 over 4 equals what? If we divide out our 4's, it would just equal 3, right? If we were doing it that way. But if we add these together, this is really 7/4. 7/4 is not 3. So you cannot just divide that out. That's an order of operations error if you're doing it. So in this case here, we have to cross multiply. And if we take a look, we cross multiplied the d times the a plus 1. We multiplied the b on this side to the c plus d. Now we have to distribute. Distribute the d through the parentheses. We come up with AD plus BD. And a b through the parentheses, BC plus BD. We distribute. Notice what happens in this case here. We have a BD, a plus BD on both sides. If we subtract out BD on both sides, that goes away. We're left with AD equals BC. So what does that tell me? That tells me if I have something like this, 3 plus 4 over 4 equals 6 plus 8 over 8. All right. It tells me, and if I say this is my A, this is my B, this is my C, this is my D. Notice the equivalence. We got a same number on the bottom than what we're adding on top. Same number on bottom than what we're adding on top. Without having to go through and cross multiply on these, I can turn around and say this, that in this case here, this is going to equal AD is equal to BC. A times D, 24, is equal to B times C, which is 24. Do you see how that works? What's that? You're doing the work already? Let's pay attention to what I'm doing here first. I'll answer your question when I'm done. All right. So what if I had something like this? X plus 4 over 4 equals X plus 8 over 8. Or if let's not make this X, let's make this Y. Well, this times this equals this times this. 8x equals 4y. Or we can say 2x equals y. If I gave you two instances like this, you could use this. Remember we did on our last chapter when we said what does y equal to? You can figure that out. All right? Just a quick way of doing your cross multiply and divide. All right. I want you to do these 5 on back. And on the front, do the odds. The front. So 1 through 13 odds on the front and all of them on the back.